Stop treating grapes like they're just for wine. They might be the secret to a world-class mead. Let's be honest. A lot of mead is missing something. It's sweet, sure, but it often lacks real structure, real depth. What if the key isn't in rare honey, but in a grape that most winemakers ignore? I'm not talking about Cabernet or Merlot. I'm talking about hybrids you've probably never heard of. Pinot Noir, Chambourcin, Crescent. Now, I know these grapes from the world of wine. I've judged them, studied them, and seen their potential. But using them in mead, that's uncharted territory for me. This isn't just another video recipe. This is day one of an experiment to create the perfect Pyment, and you're coming with me. So, what is a Pyment exactly? See, your traditional mead is just honey, water, and yeast. That's the foundation. But a Pyment is what happens when you bring grapes into the mix. It's one of the oldest styles of mead, yet it's still one of the least explored. And this is how we get that depth and structure I was talking about. When a Pyment is done well, it doesn't just taste like mead with fruit. It becomes something entirely new. In Jiahu, China, archaeologists found pottery shards dating back to 7000 BC with residues showing a fermented mixture of honey, wild grapes, rice, and hawthorn root. This chemical analysis revealed the earliest known mixed fermentation of honey and fruit, essentially a kind of proto-Pyment that laid the groundwork for what we now recognize as mead blended with grape elements. What most people don't realize is how far back Pyment really goes. The Egyptians kept bees, loved wine, and likely blended the two for rituals and royal feasts. The Greeks made onomel, a drink of honey and grape must. The Romans, mulsum, a honey-sweetened wine, also fermented honey with fresh grape juice. Pliny the Elder even described fermenting honey directly with fresh grape juice, not just sweetening finished wine, which many scholars interpret as the early precursor to the modern concept of Pyment. While translations and historical interpretations vary, his writing strongly suggests that Romans experimented with fermented honey and grape must together. It was a true ancestor to Pyment. In medieval Europe, drinks like Pyment or Pyment were common, and that's P-I-M-E-N-T or P-Y-M-E-N-T. Wine blended with honey and sometimes spices. Monasteries made them, banquets served them, and people believed that they had health benefits. Even if not always fermented from scratch, the core idea endured. In medieval Europe, monks often made Pyments with honey, wine, and exotic spices like ginger, clove, and cinnamon. These practices were especially common in Western and Central European monastic communities, though variations existed across the continent. Some were fermented, others weren't, but they were all seen as luxurious and sometimes medicinal. As imported sugarcane became cheap and industrial beer swept Europe, honey-based drinks fell out of favor. Mead was pushed to the margins along with Pyment. Other factors included changing tastes in alcohol, increased urbanization reducing access to home beekeeping, and shifting trade patterns that made wine and beer more accessible to the average consumer. By the 18th and 19th centuries, mead had become a relic of the past in many regions. But in the last few decades, Pyment has come back, thanks to home mead makers and experimental meaderies. And today, we're not just reviving Pyment, we're reinventing it. Most people stick with the familiar grapes. Cabernet Sauvignon offers dark fruit and bold tannins. Combine it with buckwheat or wildflower honey, and you've got a structured mead that drinks like a red Bordeaux. Merlot, softer, plummy, round. Orange blossom honey makes it warm and easy to sip. Malbec brings blackberry and chocolate. Use a richer honey and you get a full-body Pyment worth aging. Zinfandel's jammy fruit and black pepper make it perfect for raspberry blossom honey. Dessert with a backbone. Syrah, peppery, smoky, bold, excellent with earthier honeys. Whites offer brightness. Sauvignon Blanc with wildflower honey gives a citrusy, grassy, dry Pyment, perfect for hot days. Riesling with Tupelo honey delivers floral, peachy notes that balance beautifully. Rosé, whether from a Pinot Noir or a Grenache Syrah blend, is a brilliant base for fruit-forward Pyments. Pinot Noir offers cherry and soft earthiness. Sangiovese, which is the basis for Chianti, brings acidity and herbs. Barbera and Nebbiolo are bold and age-worthy. Montepulciano is rustic and hearty. Whites like Pinot Grigio and Trebbiano are crisp, clean, and refreshing. But here's a twist. Unconventional grapes bring flavors that surprise you. Marquette is cold, hearty, and packed with black cherry, spice, and subtle smoke. Pair that with a clover honey and you have magic. Chambourcin is deep, earthy, and weird in the best way. With floral honey, it's funky and balanced. La Crescent screams apricot and tropical fruit. Loud in wine, but golden and smooth with the right honey. Frontenac Gris, tart, citrusy, clean. Alfalfa honey gives you peach, grapefruit, and a dry finish. Fermentation tips? Whether you're using Merlot or Marquette, go with a clean yeast like QA23 or 71B. Keep your starting gravity around 1090 to 1100. That gives you a balance that lets both the honey and grapes shine. Working with red grapes, do skin contact for 24 to 72 hours. That pulls out color, tannins, and aroma. Makes a huge difference. Some Pyments benefit from oak, especially bold reds. French oak for spice, American oak for vanilla. But the funkier grapes, they often don't need it, and let them evolve with the honey. Here's why it matters. Pyment isn't just mead with grapes. It's a transformation. You're creating something new, something that's not wine, not cider, not beer, but its own thing entirely. So, if you've only made traditional mead or tossed in some berries and peaches, it's time to go further. Find a vineyard, ask for juice or must. Marquette, La Crescent, Catawba, Norton, even the classics like Syrah and Riesling. Start small, 1-gallon batches, play with the blends, try different honeys. Because the best mead you'll ever make might just start with a grape you didn't even expect. If you're into real-world experiments, rare ingredients, and pushing flavor boundaries, go ahead and subscribe. I'll be here, testing the limits of what mead can be. Discover how Pyment Mead made with honey and grapes unlocks bold flavor, ancient tradition, and modern innovation. Learn the best grape blends, fermentation tips, and the forgotten wine varietals. Anyway, for more great mead making tips with no fluff, check out some of my other videos and playlists over here. Happy fermentation, and hope you make a great Pyment.